we hear? You heard my call. You're imbalanced, Swampy.
How would it Swampy looking for stuff? It calls to you.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Hope you guys have been enjoying the content we've been pushing out. Just remember, we've got YouTube on Fridays, and then Tuesdays, of course, we've got the podcast releasing on your local podcasting company of choice.
Woohoo.
And go ahead and introduce everybody. So to my north, and to my west, I think, is Taylor from Canada.
Hello there.
And then all the way across the pond, at home, hungry, wants to go eat dinner, we've got Big Jack.
How are we doing, everyone?
We're good. We're good. Good now.
All right. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. We've got some good stuff. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to explore the Force.
Yeah, let's do it.
Excellent. So, something that happened to me only yesterday, I was out for a few birthday drinks. And whilst I was sitting there chatting away, I happened to look up on the shelf at this place, my local drinking establishment. And as I noticed, I seen a little picture of a Rancor. So I got off my store straight away, proceeded to go over, and the store, or the pub that I was drinking at, was full of Star Wars beers and bottles. Unfortunately, though, they were all empty.
My God.
Past ones. So, yeah, I just missed out. There's one called Defeat the Rancor. Thought it was brilliant. I've got some pictures, so you'll be seeing them shortly as well. What about you, Jimmy?
I've had a lot of little things this week. Obviously, school's out, so I have a little bit more time to mess around. But mostly just, I don't know if I had anything that's like super Force encountery this week. So, Taylor, did you have anything?
Well, I was working on my review of Young Jedi Adventures, so that was kind of mostly my Star Warsy thing this week. But I also did learn that our snow leopard's name is Batu at the zoo.
Oh, very
So
cool.
I was like, oh, so cool. It was like, oh, it's just a name. I'm like, it's an awesome name.
So you definitely got some Star Wars fans working at the zoo with you.
Yeah,
we do. Yeah, there's a few names that are Star Warsy, but I can't think of them right now. I'll have to find them. I learn new names every week because there's close to, what did they say? Our website says we have close to like 300 animals or something, but I think we only have like 86 species or something like that. I might be totally wrong. But yeah, I'm trying to learn. It's fun.
Nice.
I really like it.
A bit of backer action. Well, that leads us nicely into our news then for this week. All the way from Batu itself. So just to start us off, we've got the Dark Droids comic series coming from Marvel. And that's due to be released in August. The dates, funnily enough, as well, from last week's episode for the Galactic Cruiser, Star Cruiser, have all sold out. So the final couple of days in September this year, yeah, they've all magically sold out and gone. A bit of sad
Watch
news.
them change their mind.
Yeah, because of our episode, obviously. A bit of sad news though. Ray Stevenson's, unfortunately, he's passed away. He was due to be one of the roles in the upcoming Ahsoka series. And also, there's a bit of news coming out as well that I've heard there's going to be a potential TV series now for Indiana Jones. It may or may not be in the work. Again, just keeping it all Disney related. The last news that I've got is from the Star Wars Fan Fun Day that I attended. They've managed to raise just under £8,000 for charity. So yeah, again, massive shout out to those guys. Well done.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Very cool. Jack, did you see also that Tim Morris is going to play Captain Rex?
Yeah.
In the Ahsoka series.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't think, I don't know, some of the articles I've seen have acted like that's a big surprise, but I kind of assumed it was happening. What about you guys?
Yeah, it can't be anyone else. It has to be him, right? That's like the best role ever to play. Can you imagine? Hey, can you be our actor that we're gonna make 1 million clones of?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he can literally play anybody he wants. So there's so many clones.
He can play Cody. He
And
can play,
then
yeah.
Oh yeah.
with yeah, so that'll be interesting. I mean, he played that. I mean, he was in Kenobi for like 5 seconds, and I mean, who knows what clone he was if he was anyone famous.
Yeah,
And
I
that was as far
forgot
as
about
famous,
that.
but so
Yeah,
and
the
of
guy with
course
the
his
poor guy, right?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
the
and
beggar.
then
He was the beggar. Yeah.
yeah, and then also Ray Stevenson. Like so, Jack, you and I were both at Celebration. We
Yeah.
saw him on stage, super energetic, and then I'll be perfectly honest with you. You know, life moves on for us, and we go home and everything like that. And of course, we got this very sad news that he passed at only 58 years old. I
Yeah.
went back on IMDb that day. I did not realize that man was like the king of the nerds.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
had Thor, Punisher, Warzone. I mean, I was looking at his filmography, and it was extensive.
Oh, he's been
Yeah.
That
in so
was
much before, so much.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great choice of casting as well. I think it's about time he stepped into the Star Wars universe. But yeah, big loss. Obviously, thoughts and condolences to his family. Yeah, he's going
Yeah.
to be missed.
Yeah, he looked terrific in the footage that we've seen so
Yeah.
far. So I'm excited to see that. And again, it just obviously makes it even more sad. Someone that great, someone that talented is gone.
Yeah.
So I think is that all the news that we've got this week?
Yeah, that's all the news from my
We
side of the pond.
well, this might be a rumor, but people were talking about that Natalie Portman might be coming back. It'd be a
Yes.
flashback, obviously, right? So and that's what they say. They always say, "Oh, I'd be open to coming back," and like 3 months later, bam, they're cast, right? Like, I mean, if you're an actor, that's all you have to do. Rosario Dawson just said that she wanted to play Ahsoka, and she got it. How easy is that? God. But
So I think that's pretty much all the news we got this week. So let's go ahead, as our podcast is called, and explore the Force. And I think Jack, you brought up the idea of this topic, our favorite Force user, and then I think I almost had a stroke trying to decide who my favorite Force user is. So since you brought it up, why don't you go ahead and dive in, Jack, and we'll get started with this.
Sure. So the person I'm going to start off with is Master Yoda.
You seek Yoda.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Yoda. He has been there from the very beginning. Even now, with all the High Republic stuff going forward, even in the sequel films, he's still plotting around. Okay, he still has a massive influence as well. He's there. I think when he was first introduced in Empire Strikes Back, I was very curious. We don't really know much information about him as well. It's quite mysterious. And then getting to see him in the Attack of the Clones with his little lightsaber and just his moves against Dooku. Yeah, straight from there.
so
And then
good.
people as well that he's trained. He's trained people like Dooku. You know, he's mentored Anakin to a degree. He's helped Qui-Gon Jinn. He's helped Obi-Wan. He's trained Luke Skywalker. So I think everything Star Wars wise, somewhere along the line, regardless, has had some form of influence from Yoda. And the guy's just hilarious as well. Some of the things he comes out with. I mean, one of the standout things for me is his little laugh. I love it in the Last Jedi as well, where I think it's Luke. Yeah, it's Luke. Luke's chucking the books into the fire.
Yeah.
It's not the Last Jedi, no. Yeah, it was the Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's chucking the books into the fire, and the first thing he says is, "Did you read them? Did you?" Knowing obviously that Luke had never read the sacred texts. Yeah, absolutely hilarious. Absolutely love the guy. Again, like I said, yeah, he's had a major influence. He's very mysterious. Don't really know much of him. We know where he ended up in Empire Strikes Back. Obviously, we've got Grogu now. So again, a little bit more of that Yoda influence. So there isn't literally not one series where Yoda hasn't had some form of interaction. But yeah,
Plays the role.
Yoda's the guy for
Some
me.
of his Some of his stuff in Clone Wars too, towards the end, was pretty intense. Some of
Hmm.
his adventure when he goes, I don't even know where exactly he goes, but he has that whole encounter with his dark half. It was pretty
Yeah,
cool. Are any of you
yeah.
guys read the comics?
I haven't
I'm
got it.
not into those ones, not yet. No,
I have
but
a
like,
stack
doesn't
that's like
he?
40 feet high, but he has his own comic now. So I think I don't know which number that's on. I have them all. I've just got to
Get to
dive into
them.
those after I finish the High Republic series. So that's next on my list.
Ah,
Yeah, Yoda's a great one, man. Classic. Just what a leap of faith too. Like think about Empire Strikes Back and like, all right, so we're gonna use a puppet. If you think about it, like the physical presence of them,
Yeah,
and then just bringing them to life and all the things like that. Yeah, and in the High Republic, he hasn't had a ton to do. I think he shows up um, in the very first book. His presence is felt, and of course, it gives everybody a boost, which was still pretty cool.
yeah.
I do think they got to be careful because you can't have him running around just tearing things up. It'll kind of take away from the story. But yeah,
yeah.
it is comforting. I know Taylor, you're reading Phase 2.
Yes.
Jack, have you read much of Phase 1? Have you read it?
I have. Yeah. So obviously I've done the phase 2 stuff. Phase 1 at the minute I've finished. Passive Deceit. I'm currently on Convergence as well, so I'm ploughing through that. But I'm also reading some of the old
Very
school
cool.
stuff. I've got Tales of the Canteen at the minute. I'm almost finished that. And once I've done that, I can concentrate again on phase 2 or phase 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got that small presence in there so far. It's pretty cool. Taylor, excuse me. How about you?
Well, actually, one thing I like about I've seen Yoda in one of the High Republic comics, and that is from Phase One, and
Hmm.
he comes to the Jedi Temple or the ship that they're on, and they're like, "Oh, have you come to finally take up your spot on the council?" And he said, "No, no, the council is not for me. I'm needed elsewhere in the galaxy." So for now, so I like that, and like he's busy, he's out there, he's exploring, pioneering and stuff. So it's cool that he refused to go to the council, like in the High Republic time. So what is he, 500 years old? Still has
No,
those gray hairs. Oh,
It'd be
yeah.
it's over
Oh,
900 when he died, or almost.
yeah. And then also, I did watch a documentary on how he was made. And I guess the puppeteer, like Frank Oz, he's one of the puppeteers. He designed Yoda a certain way, and George looked at it and said, "No, no, scrap it, start over." And then so instead of doing this crazy thing that he came up with, like this puppet character, he said that he ended up settling on making Yoda in his image. So he felt like that's what he kind of looked like. He put his own facial features into Yoda to make him feel more real, because whose face do you know more than your own, right? So I thought that was
Yeah.
cool too. So
Yeah,
that's cool.
it was very cool. One last thing on Yoda, and I think, do you want to know his species or his home world? And do you think with Grogu we'll ever find any of that stuff out?
Uh, I don't. I don't think we'll find it out with Grogu. I don't think we will. And to be honest, I quite like that mysterious thing about Yoda. To be fair, I think it will stay. I'd like it to stay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the Yoda, Yaddle, and Grogu. Well, I also saw an interview with George saying that he's never going to. He doesn't ever want to go into where Yoda's from, Yoda's species. He doesn't want to know the name of their species. He doesn't want to know where, like, their planet, where they're from. He likes that. So I think when he sold Lucasfilm to Disney, he did tell um, Kathleen Kennedy, like, we're not telling them what this is. Like, just don't go into that. But I think he obviously got the rights and stuff. They got the rights and stuff to do Grogu, but I don't think we're gonna actually ever find out. Well, at least no time
Yeah, I don't think
soon.
so either. I think it's a good mystery. Keep it that way.
Hmm.
I do think about it every once in a while when you see Grogu or you see something with Yoda, like, man, but I don't think we need everything answered. So, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Taylor, so you're sitting there, you hear the question for this week, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, and who did you pick?
So I was actually gonna go for Anakin Skywalker, but I don't know. I totally changed my mind this morning at the very last minute.
I don't know you anymore. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow.
And my favorite Force user, and this didn't have to be light side or dark side, I did take that all into consideration as well, but it's Qui-Gon. It's Qui-Gon. I have always loved Qui-Gon, and I've read him in a couple of the books and stuff. Like he's in the Padawan book with Obi-Wan, and he's mentioned in Brotherhood, and where else did I see him? Anyways, he does get out there and do stuff, and Qui-Gon to me is actually he is the perfect Jedi for me because he's not held back by like everything that the council does. So he doesn't actually he knows the council is flawed, and he knows that he can do more good out in the galaxy, just kind of like Yoda, right? But yeah, Qui-Gon has his own timetable, right? He like you must trust my judgment, and he tells that to everybody. And sometimes he goes around how the council would have told him to do it. But yeah, I'm liking Qui-Gon. He's my man.
He's pretty good in the Master and Apprentice book as
Yeah,
well.
that's the one.
Kind of show their relationship, and then finding out that he passes up on a seat on the council so he can finish Obi-Wan's training,
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
I guess
good.
I should have yelled spoiler alert.
Oops.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Qui-Gon is
do you
also.
think we'll get more stuff of Qui-Gon?
Yeah, it's super powerful. I didn't realise until I started to look into the character myself that it was born on Coruscant as well.
Was he? Oh.
Yeah, Coruscant, and obviously trained by Dooku. They were pretty much best friends. Massively wise beyond his years. I think it was he was into the human version of Yoda, because he worked out how to manifest himself after death. Which makes did he want Maul to kill him? Did he see the events? Did he know what was going to be happening? All the questions out there, but then maybe not. But yeah, he was massively wise. Always seen with Yoda in a lot of comics as well. Really good fighter, extremely good fighter as well with lightsaber. Getting that from, I think, his mentor being a Dooku. But yeah, a little stab of humour every now and then as well. Good mentor to Obi-Wan. Yeah, quite a big fan of Qui-Gon Jinn myself, to be fair.
Yeah.
I liked him in was it Tales of the Jedi with the Dooku stuff, and they showed him as a young man. It was kind of cool to see him there, see him kind of growing, and the guy is brave right from the start. I mean, he holds his master up. I mean, he stops Dooku from, basically wiping out that whole group in the I think the last episode of Dooku's thing. So imagine being a young kid and having to do that. So I think that kind of shows his character right off the bat. And of course, he probably just gets stronger and more confident in himself as he's going along.
It's funny you should say that, because one of the things that Dooku says about him when they first meet, I can't remember where I've read this, I don't know what book it was, but Dooku picks up to the fact that he seems frightened, but he's not frightened of external stuff. He's more, I think he has like a chat with him, or there's like a passage of time where it's just pure silence, and then Jin confesses to Dooku that he's frightened within himself. He confessed about the fear inside himself. So yeah, Dooku is a really, really good mentor for him.
And Qui-Gon, he has respect for all life, right? I mean, like in A Phantom Menace, he's a little bit rude to Jar Jar.
Oh, muy, I love you.
You almost got us killed. Are you brainless?
I speak.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
But he didn't want Jar Jar to get in trouble from their king or whatever. So he takes him with him, right? And he like, oh, another life form, but No, like I think I just Qui-Gon is very balanced. I think he's very like he knows how to relax. Like he can relax while fighting. Like he definitely goes against what the council says. The council is like, oh, like be mindful of the future, and but he's like, no, no, now is more important. Don't be so into the future that you can't see what's right in front of you. And he knows that, and he does try to push that into Obi-Wan, which I think it does rub off on him a little bit. But by the time Obi-Wan gets to the council, it's like he doesn't even have a real role in the council. It's like a rotating role or something. You learn it in the Brotherhood book. So
Well, I guess Qui-Gon is a pretty good segue for me. I sat there and, you know, once I realized we could use any Force users as a back and forth between stuff,
yeah.
but I did settle on Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Hello there.
I think his story is phenomenal when you think about everything he's gone through. So,
Mm-hmm.
just and they're definitely fleshing out his character in the Padawan book, which I have not got the chance to read yet. I'm so far behind on
Oh,
books.
that's such a good one.
Along with my comics, my book stack keeps kind of stacking up as well. So I'll get into that eventually. But just based on the Clone Wars, the stuff from Master and Apprentice, the stuff from the especially the Clone Wars, and of course his new series. Well, not new series, but the series they had on Disney Plus, and then everything we've gotten in, the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy. Just his story, his sacrifice. I mean, the guy loses everything. I mean, you couldn't lose more, I don't think, than what Obi-Wan. And you see that in the series. People were pretty mad that he kind of was a shell of himself. But you think about he lost his entire family, which at that point would have been hundreds of Jedi. And of course, he was close with that group from the Clone Wars. Anakin, he lost his best friend. I mean, he thinks he kills his best friend. So that's got to go there. He lost the love of his life in Satine.
Yeah.
He's sitting there, and then he's doomed to live out in the desert by himself for the Force, for the Council, for the Jedi Order, and he does it. Reluctantly he leaves, but for a little bit there, but he does everything that he has to do. And I just think that this character, Alec Guinness obviously introduces him to the
Yes.
world, and then you got McGregor. He comes in and he brings his character to life, obviously. And I hope we get more. And there's also know that it's not canon, but the Kenobi book,
so good,
is one of my favorites. I've read that 2 or 3 times. I think it would be an awesome if they wanted to do another series, be able to do that, and it doesn't affect any of the canon. Just has him off kind of on his own, doing his own adventures, learning more about the Force. But Kenobi, for me, I just don't see how he might be the Jedi with the most screen time as well. And then, of course, they bring him back. I think the last thing we will, not the last thing because that would be in the trilogy, original trilogy, but his battle with Maul on Tatooine when in Star Wars Rebels. And this is kind of the seals the deal for me. You get there, Maul finds him. Maul's dark side user, obviously, and it's just driven by rage and by anger. And they're there, and I expected this 20-minute battle between these two, and it's 3 or 4 moves. And I think we probably talked about this before, but Maul hasn't changed at all.
Not learning.
He's still driven by that anger and that rage, and he tries to kill Kenobi with the same exact moves he killed Qui-Gon with, and Kenobi defeats it, kills him, and then still shows him empathy at the end. And this is the man who kills his master, kills the love of his life, is trying to take another Jedi and turn him. So I don't know. I just don't know if there's. We could probably do an entire episode or 4 on Kenobi. What do you guys think about Kenobi?
Yeah, big fan. Just going on what you said there, he's got that warriors code about them. Also, a big fan of Maul, obviously. That Alex bringing him to life because he's so mysterious at the start. And I think Disney have done and Lucasfilm have done really well in fleshing them out. Ewan McGregor was a perfect choice casting wise, I thought as well. Loving all the Kenobi stuff, Kenobi series. I do hope there's more of that. The books are fantastic. Again, having that tutelage from Yoda to begin with, then passed on to Dooku. I think he was about 13 when he passed on to Dooku. And watching his relationship with Anakin, trying to mentor him like Qui-Gon mentored him. And it is heartbreaking just to watch. I won't say him fail, even though he screams and he said that I failed you. He takes a hell of a lot of responsibility in everything that he does, and you see that. And it's a big thing with Leia as well, where he's talking to her saying how he knew her parents and that. And there's a real connection there between with Vivian Blair. I think she's been quoted saying somewhere just like a second father to her on the set, and that's what helped that chemistry. I love the abilities that he has. His Jedi fighting is brilliant. And the thing I'm not a massive fan of is anyone that he comes across with that uses the Force against him just instantly piles in, as in Dooku dropping stuff on him. But yeah, no.
Sith Lords are our speciality.
What about
Because everything you read about him, he's not this great warrior, but every time like you said, every time he comes up against a Sith Lord, he ends up on the winning side of things.
What about you, Taylor? What do you?
Taylor, what about you?
I've always loved Obi-Wan. Like I don't know. I definitely could have gone with Obi-Wan as my favorite, but I kind of assumed that you would because you have a dog named after him.
I do have a dog named after him.
But Obi-Wan is he's a rule follower. He's such a goody-good. But actually, a couple of the books that I've read where he's younger, he's very, he's not a rule follower. So he's actually a little troublemaker. So when he's paired up with Qui-Gon is, because Qui-Gon is so not a rule follower, it almost made Obi-Wan swap to be a goody two-shoes and following all the rules and stuff because his master was so opposite of that. So he's always like, oh, like I don't want to sit here and do nothing. Like I want to be out in the galaxy. But he also is like, well, but Master Yoda told me I should be mindful of the future. And like he's always kind of arguing and bickering back. So that's why when he has Anakin as his Padawan, I feel like it's kind of the same way. Like they kind of have that push-pull relationship there. But yeah, and Obi-Wan's pretty much like an older brother to Anakin. Like, he's definitely not the father role that Anakin needed. He's the older brother that they can just be goofy around, right? And I also think that Obi-Wan knew about Padme being pregnant and being with Anakin long before Revenge of the Sith. Like I think he could just tell, right? But he didn't give his Padawan total crap for it. So
I think that's the one misstep of Kenobi through all the stuff you see, not checking Anakin with the background that he has with Satine.
Yeah.
Knowing, and that also shows you how strong Kenobi is to be able to walk away from the love of his life, and how much control he has over the Force to be like, think about it. Think about when you were a teenager, being all in love. You do some dumb things, so, and it just, obviously these are characters that are made up, but it just kind of shows you his strength from within this whole time. And yeah, that's one of the reasons I think it's absolutely, and there's so many examples of Kenobi just being a top-notch Jedi. But so I know we put this poll out on I think our social medias, and if you didn't do that, you go ahead and drop us, on Twitter, Instagram, on our Facebook page, on YouTube. Let us know who your favorite Jedis are, or Force users. Sorry, not Jedi. I don't want to be one-sided here. Dark side, light side. But Taylor, I think we had one or two people.
Yeah, we had a few people. So, well, first of all, these are the poll results. So 33% of you guys liked Obi-Wan as your favorite Force user.
That's good news.
17% of you said Anakin/Darth Vader, even though, like, have we decided that they're two separate people? Nah, I don't know.
I don't think we've talked about it.
Well, we'll just go with that. 17% like him. Luke Skywalker was 17%, 1-7. And then 33% of you said someone else. And I think we got 5 people that said Ahsoka was their favorite. So, and I do have a couple comments here. We have Alex Fletcher. She says, I love Ahsoka because of her journey. And then we have on Facebook, we have a rather long comment from Jacob Lusk, and he says, Ahsoka is my favorite. She's my favorite Force user because we see a lot of her spiritual journey as a Force user. Well, almost all of it, actually, from when she discovers it. From Tales of the Jedi, to the Learner, to Clone Wars, and eventually to the Teacher, Rebels, and a mentor to Grogu in Book of Boba Fett. So I think, he says, a quite rarity amongst those who appeared on screen in comparison to Anakin, where we don't see most of his Padawan years, or Luke when he's older teacher post-Mando. For me, Ahsoka has one of the most complete and fulfilling examples of a character grown in Star Wars. And you know what? I totally agree with that. We literally see her as a baby, right? In Tales of the Jedi. And then we see her as, like, pretty much a child in the first Clone Wars movie. Yeah, and then we see her growing and growing into this, like, really powerful Force user. And she kicked out of the Jedi, like, religion because of something that she didn't do, and then they were like, oh, sorry, you can come back, and she's like, no thanks. She's like, if there was such a thing as a gray Jedi, I think that she would be the gray Jedi.
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, she was definitely up there on my list. I have, and then the final season of Clone Wars, those final 3 or 4 episodes. Well, I guess it would be 3 episodes, just showing how her power. I hope we get to see that live action. So you see her in in Clone Wars, how strong she was at the end. Man, I hope we see some flashes of that in this live action series that she's got. And I do think that, obviously this is just going to build her legend more and more and more. So that's pretty, right. A good one.
And I think she's going to be around for a long time too, because Dave Filoni's not going to let his baby go, right? He loves her. Also, this week, we hit 100 followers on Instagram. Oh, how good does that feel? Under a month. And we have so much support. We have so many of you messaging us saying that our shows are getting better, which is great because then we actually feel like we're doing, like, we're getting somewhere. We're getting to the top of the stairs. So that's awesome. And then I think as of today, we have, 86 followers on Facebook too. So thank you, all of you, for telling all of your friends and your family to listen to us. Thank you to my mom who listens to us. I think Jimmy's mom loves us as well.
Woo! She doesn't understand a word we're saying, but she loves to hear her baby's voice.
Right. I don't even think my parents know what we talk about, but they listen to our podcast on their walk in the morning. So thank you guys.
Yeah, my mom's exact words was like, I don't understand what the hell you're talking about. Cool.
I get a lot of like, oh, your guys' passion just comes right out. It's like, thanks. I hope so. But anyways, this has been a very long week for me and probably for you guys too. So I think that's it for our show today. Don't forget to tune in next week. And I think we have a couple of shorter clips coming out as well. So stay tuned in for that. if you guys have any suggestions or anything that you want us to talk about, or you want to get in on the conversation, just tell us. Let us know. We love talking Star Wars. There's one of us in every little bit of Star Wars. Jack plays all the games. Jimmy's got all the collection stuff, as you can see behind him. Me, I'm just a psycho and have like 1,000 books and comics that I've never read. I'm a collector. But yeah, just join the conversation and explore with us, guys. For light and life.
Wanga wanga. Got him.
And for all of us, I can't. For all of us, we have spoken.
See you guys.
See you, everyone. Thanks for joining us this week. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube every Friday and Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Explore the Force. Here's Jack with an Outer Rim report for his tabletop gaming experience with Shatterpoint this weekend.
Hi guys, it's me, Jack from Explore the Force. I've just not long got back from playing the new Star Wars Shatterpoint that's being released this weekend. I was fortunate enough to get a quick demo by a friend of mine, Ian Mann, down at Boards and Swords. So Ian, if you're watching, hello there. Down at Ian's shop that he owns, or co-owns, with his friend, Boards and Swords. Check them out. Absolutely amazing deals, low prices as well. Real friendly community. Awesome boards that they've set up as well, and real down to earth people. Lots of tournaments as well that they do. Give them a quick shout out. I've checked them on their Facebook page and socials as well. Lots of events that they do. Star Wars Shatterpoint then, let's get into it. So Star Wars Shatterpoint, okay, is due to release this weekend. It's been announced now for almost gone up to a year. With the core set then, what you're going to get is 4 squads, 16 miniatures in total. In there you're getting Ahsoka, Anakin, Darth Maul, Asajj Ventress, a couple of the clones, Trooper guys, Bo-Katan's in there. The Shatterpoint, the Shatterpoint models itself then is essentially a skirmish miniature game where opponents or players make 2 squads, so up to 6 or 8 characters each side, and basically just do battle over objectives. The models themselves then are quite similar to Legion, but a bit larger scale in size. If you've ever played Marvel Crisis Protocol, again, quite similar to that. One of the good things about Shatterpoint though, the rulebook itself is free. The game itself was made by Asmodee, also published by Atomic Mass Games. The whole point of it then with Shatterpoint is you have essentially 3 units. You have like a primary unit, which is like the main leader, such as like Anakin or Grievous. A secondary unit, which is like a support character, if you like Commander Cody. And then you've got like a supporting unit, which basically is like the troopers. Lots of awesome artwork on the cards, which you'll see shortly now. These are just some of the pictures and videos that I've got as well from my time at Derby. One thing you'll notice about the cards, quite animation orientated. So if you're a big fan of Star Wars Clone Wars, again, you probably end up swinging towards this. The game itself is quite easy to learn, if I'm honest. Not really that much in terms of sophistication. Easy to play. Turn sequence is just back and forth. The main objective is to take objectives, pretty much. There's loads and loads of expansions that are coming out. One of them is called This Party's Over Squad Pack, and that's Mace Windu. Coming out with Commander Pons and some troopers. You've also got the Witches of Dathomir Squad Pack, which is amazing. It's got Savage, again, Mother Talzin, and some Night Sister Acolytes. There's a special edition one coming out called You Cannot Run Duel Pack, which features the scene from Kenobi, where Darth Vader confronts Obi-Wan Kenobi. Speaking of Obi-Wan Kenobi, his own set is also due to release, called the Hello There Squad Pack. As you expect, General Kenobi in his Clone War armour, Commander Clone Cody's in there, and again the 212 clone troopers, which always supported him throughout. On the opposite side then, you've got Twice the Pride Squad Pack. That's Count Dooku, Jango Fett, and some Magna Guard, which is amazing. Sticking with the droid theme, Then you've got the Appetite for Destruction squad pack. That's General Grievous, some B2 battle droids, and Kraken the Commander. Again, sticking with the clone theme, you've got Plans and Preparation squad pack. Okay, that's Luminari, Barasafei, and some clone commandos as well. That's also going to be in there, which again, really amazing artwork. So good to see. A lot of love for the clone stuff. Okay, next, another squad pack that I'm extremely excited for is the Jedi Hunters pack. Against the Grand Inquisitor, Reva, the Fifth Brother, the Fourth Sister. So I'll get my hands on that as soon as that's due up for release. And there's some high ground terrain packs as well, because the game itself is quite orientated around the terrain. So I've got the Take Cover terrain pack that's coming. You'll see all that coming up in the new releases. I'll keep you updated with that. The pack itself then has got similar measuring tool packs to X-Wing, if you've ever played X-Wing. Again, numbered from 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice there's no number 1 ruler. The way they're working out, the way you are told to work out the distance for a 1 is literally just the width end of either of the measuring tools. Dice then, some of the dice are 8-sided, again attack and defense sided. There was a Adapticon 2023. They spoke about releasing Padme, Darth Vader, Ewoks, Mandalorian. Also, very exciting was the Phoenix Squad. They were due for release. Obviously, the Mandalorian's there, and Solo, in Verso. One of the beautiful things I think about this game is what it covers all areas from the Phantom Menace all the way through. There's characters that are going to be appearing, such as Cad Bane's going to be in there, Aura Singh's in there, Plo Koon's going to be in there. There's lots and lots of wholesome Star Wars goodness in this game. You'll see now a couple of my pictures, like I mentioned earlier, with the time at Derby, where I was lucky enough to play with the starter pack, where I was Anakin and the Clone Troopers up against Ian's B1 droids. Again, just in this, you can see beautifully painted by himself and the store, guys at the store there. A lot of the layout of the terrain, again, fantastically well painted, easy enough to set up and get going. Turn sequence and how it rolls, again, it's quite similar to Legion, where you will turn a card and that will dictate what unit of yours is going to go first. You don't have to use that unit, you can put it into reserve to use later on. You have something called force tokens as well, which you spend like currency to help you do certain actions. With actions then, you basically have a maximum of 2 actions that you can do per turn. Again, running, dashing, attacking. A lot of this gets covered in the game in quite a bit of detail. I'm going to be going back there again this Saturday to help out the store with the release. I'll be getting my Sand Trooper. I'll also be getting my copy of the game. Thank you, Ian. And there is an event coming up which I'm hoping to take part of. And yeah, just keep the eye out on this page for more Star Wars game goodness.